You're listening to the Walk the Line podcast. Real stories of real people.
You know, I'm getting old, right? It's like 7 o'clock here and I'm drinking peppermint tea. You know, what the hell is going on with my life right now? It wasn't that long ago that I was actually sitting there. I'll be in the bar right now getting pissed up, and now I'm drinking peppermint tea. Jesus Christ.
What happens to us?
Coralyn, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. There's one thing I've been looking forward to getting you on, to be quite honest with you, because there's one question I want to ask you. So settle an argument for me. What's harder to perform, a triple axel or a Bielman spin?
Oh, triple axel.
Okay, there you go. That's it. That's it. Because you did. The reason why I ask, you're an ex-skater, an ex-figure skater. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, I was. I grew up in the United States, but I was born in South Africa, so I was supposed to represent South Africa in the Olympics.
It's crazy. You had a crazy injury though. You had some surgery before. Is that because of the injury you had previously?
Yes. So I didn't know at the time, but sorry, there's a tab popping up on my computer screen. I didn't know at the time that when I got injured that I'd broken my back. I knew I'd broken my collarbone, my ribs, but nobody said anything about my back. And so fast forward 20 years after figure skating, after being a bodybuilder and competing in competitions, and then working as a wedding planner, I started to have like excruciating pain, and took them 5 years to diagnose with me. But I had it's called a bilateral pars defect, which in layman's terms is your spine is broken. So
Wow. Is that all from like your figure skating days? Is that what really caused it?
yeah, that's what they think, because they said that they could see that my spine was broken, and they could see that it was moving over time. And because when I was training, I was so strong, my core was strong, my back was strong, that I didn't feel the pain. But as I stopped training, I started to move more and my muscles weakened. And so I had to go and have surgery done twice.
Twice. Was it proper like kind of invasive? You have to lie in one of those like kind of you can't move your back in a big back brace and you have to walk about like a robot.
Well, so yeah, the first one I had to tell, it's a long story, but the first one was done in Mexico, in Tijuana.
God, is that one of those? Whereabouts was this hospital? Was it in the back of a bar somewhere or something? You
No,
just looked through
actually,
the sheets.
my experience in Mexico was top notch and way better than my experience a year later in the United States. My
Really?
my care, the way they treated me, the check-in process, the hospital stay, the 2-week stay afterwards in like his care facility with like nursing staff, that was all great. What went wrong with my surgery, the reason I had to have it in Mexico, was my insurance approved it, then denied it, and wanted me to start over with another surgeon. And I said, I'm done. So I paid out of pocket and went to Mexico to have it done. The day afterwards, they contacted me, my insurance, and said, we made a huge mistake. You can have your surgery in the United States. And I was like, I already did it. And so everything went well there, except the problem was that when I came back from Mexico, I started having like excruciating pain, and I had to go to the emergency room, and come to find out the screw was too long. And so it went through my anterior cortex vertebrae. So then I had a fracture, and the fracture was
Jesus.
caused my spine to move again. So then a year later, I had to have it done again in the United States.
Jesus, that sounds horrendous. I've always heard about any injuries to the back is like, yeah, that's some dodgy shit in it.
I don't recommend, if I really don't recommend spinal fusion surgery. I mean, when I went in for the surgery, my pain, I didn't have like, they would always ask me, do you have any leg pain, any sciatica? And I was like, no, thank God. After Mexico, I had that pain. I had the sciatica. Now that's gone, but I'm back to the pain that I had before this all started. So it's not fixed.
Oh, Jesus, you need to have any more work done.
I'm not getting any more done. No. In fact, I went to the surgeon's office on Monday for a 6-month checkup. I waited 2 hours and he never came in. They don't care about you anymore once they've done your surgery. And so I just left. I just got back in my car and drove in 3 hours home. So I have no idea if my x-rays are good or what. I don't care.
Jesus Christ. That's one thing. Talking about your journey there, 3 hours it took you to get to the hospital. In the US, this is what cracks me up about people in America, right? They think, you say like 2 hour drive is nothing. That's a long time. It's like, that's like one end of our country to England to the opposite end. And you're like, oh no, I do that. I commute to work. I'm like, what the fuck?
No, it's awful. I mean, yeah, no, people do that commute to work. I live 2.5 to 3 hours away from that particular surgeon from Los Angeles. So
Right.
that's how I had to drive.
Wow.
To see nobody, because he did take forever to come. I couldn't wait anymore. So
Ah, that's his problem, innit? Fuck him, you know what I mean? You're not required to stay there as long as you want. You can just go when you want. You're,
No.
you're your own person. Do one, Mr. Doctor
Right?
now.
If we're late for a doctor's appointment, we all know that they tell you, sorry, you missed your appointment, right?
I know, right? Then they fine you, and then you put a black mark next to your name and all that sort of stuff. Well, they do
See?
that year anyway, so
So same goes for them. They miss
it's
their appointment.
mental. It's crazy that obviously you've been your background in figure skating and all that sort of stuff, and it's. Do you ever look back at it and sit and wonder, like, kind of that little girl's sort of fantasy of like becoming into the Olympics and all that sort of stuff? Does that still kind of? Do you still have that sort of like kind of not I wouldn't say regret, but wishes and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, my ultimate goal growing up, I've, from what I understand, I started ice skating when I was 3 years old, and I never left the rink after that. Like I begged and begged my parents. So my life was figure skating. I would get up in the mornings, 4 a.m. I would take a taxi cab to the ice rink. I would train in the morning. I would walk to school. I would go back to the rink. I would train, have dinner, do stroking class, ballet, home, homework, bed, start up again the next morning.
Jesus.
And so, my goal was to go to the Olympics, and then my goal was to own my own Circus du Soleil figure skating show. But as we all know, life throws us curveballs, and after I got injured when I was 18, and my partner was 42, and so the problem was waiting another 4 years for the next Olympics. He was going to be too old. And so I ended up moving back to California and then moving to Germany to skate in a show. I decided my Olympic dream was done. I was going to go professional route. And then I actually tried again and moved to North Carolina. A year later, found another partner, but I was left-handed. And most of the male skaters, it's hard enough to find a male partner, let alone one that's left-handed. So I had to learn how to do everything in pair skating right-handed. And now I found a partner in North Carolina left-handed, and I just couldn't get it to. I couldn't figure it out. It was the strangest thing. I spin left-handed, I jump left-handed, but I was not used to being lifted by a left-handed lifter.
Yeah,
So it just wasn't working because I've been training so long with the right-handed way. It was weird.
As but to be fair, I've tried to throw my left hand. It's probably the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, it's like if you try to play baseball with your other hand, or if you do golf, or same exact thing. It's just like trying to switch directions. It's just awkward.
It's horrible. I'm right-handed. This whole left side of mine is useless. It's just there for show. It has no use to me. I can't do anything with it. You know, somebody throws a ball, throw me your left hand. I refuse to do it because you're always just like, but this is the most gayest thing ever. You're like, oh my God, it's shocking. So I'm with you on that one, to be fair.
Right.
So then you went through your kind of the ice skating. You've went obviously and done that. I was going to look, to be fair, when I did some research into Coralyn, because I always like to do a bit some research, it's like, Jesus Christ, is there anything this girl has not done? It's just like you've got so many I would say strings to your bow, so to speak. It's impressive. Do you ever feel as if you sometimes take on too much?
Yes,
Or
absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's interesting. People always say to me, "What don't you do, Corlin?" And I go, "Well, I probably couldn't deliver your baby. Maybe not. Like I no medical back, but I was a personal trainer. I went to nursing school. Was a rehabilitation technician. I ended up becoming a wedding planner because I owned a swingers club, and
love it.
I was, swinger couples were, boyfriend girlfriend getting married, asked me to do their wedding because I was hosting these events, and before you knew it, I was now then a wedding planner. And so, I have my hands at a bunch of things, but I've kind of stepped back from a lot of the stuff, kind of like you and I were talking about before we started recording. I have a podcast as well, and I love what I do. I love my message. I love meeting new people, and I love sharing people's stories. However, I had to also realize, financially, what is going to make me be able to one day retire. And podcasting is just another, what do you call it, another credential on my books, but it's not going to make me retire.
It doesn't. I know that for a fact. I
Yeah.
know-
Yeah.
Amen to that. It's not going to make you a multimillionaire. That's the point, unless you're
Yeah,
incredibly lucky.
and
But
my goal's never been in anything that I've ever done. It's never been money. But I do have to also consider that I'm getting older and that I need to have some kind of retirement. And I've always, for the most part, been self-employed. I went from being an ice skating coach to an ice skating, to performer to running a swingers club. I owned a fitness company for children. An adult performer, podcaster, a journalist, media. All of these things are all self-employed. So I have nothing for retirement.
I say, so you're just now just sitting there going, right, what, I've got all this stuff. What can I do with it? What shall I do? What's going forward?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When you get to that sort of, the good news is you've already kind of set something up there, and hopefully you can kind of do the best success. I'm in the process right now of growing this show and trying to see what I can do. And then with podcasting, it's very hard to make any sort of like kind of decent income from it unless you're
Yeah.
incredibly lucky. So it's what you can do outside of that, and what it's like having what I'm liking to do is using the show as sort of like like the top thing, and then branch out from that. What else can I do with it?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, for what I'm doing right now, I do coaching. So I coach couples, either couples getting involved in the lifestyle in the swinger community, or singles wanting to get into it, or couples that are having problems in it. And then I also coach people getting into the adult industry. So I teach them, what it is they need to know, the legalities, the paperwork, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, so, like I said, it's just, writing my book, doing my podcast, my documentary, all these things are just, I just say they're like a little extra notch in the credentials.
Makes sense. Makes sense. You mentioned you were you got into like the kind of the swingers sort of thing and this help thing. You started off when you were a wedding planner, and is that how you really kind of got into the kind of the world of the swinging side of things?
Opposite way. So,
Oh,
I was actually when I was married to my husband for 14 years, or for 10 years, and we were together 14 years. The last year of our marriage, we got involved in the swinger lifestyle community,
right.
which I write about in my book, kind of like how we kind of, found out about it, or just, got intrigued by it. But ultimately, my marriage ended because of the swinger lifestyle community. And so people always say to me, well, why would you start a swingers club? Like, what on earth would, want you to even be in that world if that ended your marriage? And it was because, going into the marriage, I don't blame my husband, but neither of us knew the etiquette. We didn't know the rules. We didn't really know anything. We were, figuring our way out. And he made mistakes, not me. He made mistakes. And so I decided, that I was going to, run this club and help people not make the same mistakes that I made. And it all kind of started, it's a crazy story. I mean, went from, getting a divorce to working as a dancer in a strip club to going out and dancing in Palm Springs and having the owner of my building say to me, "Hey, I overheard you talking to some of the dancers that you used to, be a swinger." And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "The owner of this building wants you to run a swingers party here." And I go, "Wait, I don't know anything about running a swingers party. I just would go to parties." And he's like, "Well, he wants to interview you." And that's kind of how it started. I interviewed and I did an event and it was successful. And I did another one and it was successful. And then he invested in a property for me to move my children. And we moved into this 10,000 square foot mansion and I started running events. So,
That, end of the day, it's learn by doing. That's how you do it. It's the old.
yeah, that's so true. I think that so much stuff in everything in life, it's always hands on.
That's always the thing, is it? When someone gives you an opportunity, you don't know how to do it. You always say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah, I write about so I wrote a book and my book kind of touches on like my how I went from being, Olympic figure skater hopeful to Germany to Sweden to running a fitness company to, dancing to swingers club to being an adult performer, coaching. How does somebody go that route? And then everybody always says to me, "I wish you had written more in your book about the swinger lifestyle community," or "I wish you'd written more about working in the brothel," or "I wish you'd written more about being on a porn set." And so I decided I would do like series of my books. So I'm on my second book. However, again, where does my focus have to go? My focus has to go to what financially is going to be able to help me put retirement away. And so my book is great. And the first one I have here's my first book. And the second book is going to be coming out, but I got to focus on the finances first. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, oh, definitely. So you've done a lot of ins and outs with the kind of swingers thing. What's the biggest assumption that people have coming from the swinging community?
Well, I think that, that's part of why I do why I do my podcast, why I write my articles, is that there's a stigma around not only the swinger community, but the adult industry. And so
Right.
people think that swingers are, oh, that's disgusting. A husband and wife just goes and has sex with another husband and wife. One analogy I always use is that my dad used to say to me, like, "I can't believe you run orgies. That's disgusting." And I go, "That's right, Dad. At 11 o'clock at night, I bring out my bullhorn and my bell and I say, 'Everybody, let's go. Penis is out, vagina's open. It's time.'" And my dad's like, disgusting. And I'm like, that is not what we do. Okay. So there's so many different variations and aspects of the swinger lifestyle community. There's the voyeurs, people that just want to go and watch. There's people that just want to be watched. Then there's the hunt for that illicit unicorn. It's that couple that wants a threesome with another woman. And then there's the hot wifing, where there's the husband who likes to see his wife with a 20-year-old young guy. Or there's cuckolding, where the husband likes to be told he can't touch, he can only watch. And so there's so many different variations and aspects. So people just have to understand that it's more about being open-minded and experiencing your fantasies and your fetishes and your kinks without judgment.
Well, that's the best way to do it. And if you can get into like be part of a community that can accept it, that's
Right.
yeah, you've struck gold. And then when you realise there was different sort of sides to it, I always thought it used because whenever being a probably say like deprived older male that's not really been into that sort of side of things, is that you always see the swingers, it's always like the couples. But I didn't realise that single people can go. I thought there was like a rule against single people going.
So that's another thing that's it's, I guess, single males have a bad rap, is what we say,
Right,
because
okay.
a lot of clubs and a lot of communities don't allow single males. A lot of websites, platforms don't, they have a special, like, singles males only community. But in my experience, me personally running my club, my problems and my issues and my events was never with the single males. I think I ran 500 events. I had two issues with single males. One that I handled right away. My security guard came over to me and I just went over to the guy and I go, "Are you freaking serious?" And he goes, "I'm sorry." And I go, "Knock it off." And that was it. Done. Okay. He was touching somebody without permission. The second issue was we had a guy, a couple, like we had some, like four people. They were in like the bathroom or whatever. And that was like the main community bathroom. I usually would buy hotels sometimes. And then like one floor would be the dance floor and I would buy playrooms for everybody. And they were in there and we asked them to please come out and go to, one of the playrooms to not have sex in the bathroom. And the guy pushed me and my security held him down. And I said to him, I said, "We have three options. Option one, I can walk you out nice and quietly. We just go. Okay. Option two, my security guard will walk you out. A little bit more eyes on you. Don't really care. Your choice. Option three." And then didn't let me talk. He like shoved me again. And I said to my security guy, "Hold him. I'm going to go get option three." And it just happened to be that there were snipers on the roof that event, because there was just happened the Vegas shooting. So it was St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, so it was St. Patrick's Day. And so I had been told that at 3 p.m., snipers were going to go up to the top of our roof. And at 4 a.m., they would come down. Okay. And so, not to scare so I popped my head up on the roof and I had, "Can I borrow two of you?" And they were like, "We're so bored. You want four?" And I go, "Yes, please." And so four of them came down and walked this guy out. And my DJ got on the microphone and said, "Don't piss off Miss Hanky Panky. This is what happens." Because my club was named Hanky Panky at the time. Um, so yeah. So, the single males, they were never my problems. It was the single women. It was, they get,
It's always the
they,
women. See, the guys get the bad rap. You always take it on the guys, but it's the women. No offense.
they get drunk, or if I had couples where it was very, very obvious that the woman didn't want to be in this lifestyle. She was doing this for her boyfriend or doing this for her husband. And so therefore she would drink to get herself loosened up. And then there would
Get it.
be, they'd be crying in the corner. I remember my door guy would always come to me and he goes, "We got the same couple crying again," and I was like, "Oh my God." So I was not a host I was literally like like a walking psychiatrist, like psychologist to everybody.
Jesus.
Crazy.
I was going to ask as well, you kind of touched on there about couples and obviously one person being into that sort of side of things and the other one not being into it. Do you see that quite a lot?
Um, I think, yeah, I do. I think from my experience, you see, usually it's one that wants it more than the other, or and so you can kind of see like one's really trying to do it. I've had I'll give you like an example. There's a couple that I coach. Okay, he's been in the lifestyle a long time. She's brand new. Okay,
Ah, okay.
he's very they're just boyfriend girlfriend, but she's very like concerned, "I'm not sure if I want to, let him do this." And so I asked her, "What is it that you don't want to let him do?" Okay. Well,
Mm.
all he wants, ready for this, all he wants is to have two women at the same time give him a foot job. Okay. So it's just so it's 4 feet on him. And he doesn't want to have sex with another woman. He doesn't want to kiss another woman. He doesn't want to do, hall passes, which is going out on a date alone. All he wants is two women giving her a foot job. I looked at her and I'm like, "Honey, this is easy. That's all. This is easy. Like, if that's all he wants in his fetish, in his fetish or fantasy to make him happy, that's an easy one." Um, Other people, have harder ones. I have a couple that for all the years that I've known them, only she's been able to play with another woman. Okay.
Huh?
No
Okay.
men. And he's not even allowed to touch the other woman. So she'll go and play on her own sometimes, and he doesn't even get to come. So 18 years later, he now
That's
says,
not fair.
"Hey, I feel left out." And I'm like, I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's not fair, that.
It's not
Listen,
fair. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she's paying with only women only. She's still having a sexual connection or an emotional connection with another human being. And if he can't be involved, what's the point?
yeah,
You know?
exactly. It's like a couple sort of thing, I can't. You're talking about like feet and all that. I can't agree with the feet. I think honestly, I'm on the dating sites right now at the minute, Coralyn, and the amount of people that are interested in feet is ridiculous. And I'm not a big fan of feet. I've got hobbit feet. They're big, wide.
I have figure skater feet. So, and I recently got hired for a foot fetish scene. And
Oh,
I said to the guy,
Jesus.
"Are you sure you want to hire me? Have you seen
You
my
got
feet?"
toes sticking up everywhere
He
because they've been
said,
squeezed
"You
in.
have perfect little," because I have tiny feet. So, but foot jobs are really difficult. You got to keep your feet all like pointed this way. It's not
Jesus.
comfortable.
It's not. You have to have really good like coordination, especially if you're not really kind of very nimble or anything like that. You're sitting there like clapping your feet together, trying to get sorted. And especially with my big old feet, I'll be sitting there kicking the ground in the head and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
he had me lay on my stomach and put my feet up like in this position, and then on my stomach, and then like give him a foot job going backwards. And I mean, really, you feel it in your thighs. It's a good workout.
Yeah, it'll work out. It's a good way to do it. There you go. There's another venture you can do. Workouts, feet workouts. This is alternative workouts for your
Yeah.
body.
So, but yeah, so but the one thing is that like I said, the swinger lifestyle community is not what society thinks it is. There's so many different variations of it, and that goes the same with the adult industry as well. Everybody thinks that oh, you're a porn star, you must have been sexually abused as a child, or you're into drugs, and from my experience, that's not that's like barely anybody that I meet in the industry. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, there is that, of course, but that's everywhere, as we see with the news lately.
Do you think that's a lot? Do you think that's, as you say, it's the media trying to really kind of twist things to make it as if there's like a taboo subject in there?
Absolutely, and it's just getting harder and harder and harder, especially with AI and algorithms and all this crap. I mean, I that's another thing that's so difficult for me. I've worked so hard to do my podcast, and I built up my YouTube channel, and I had I have my Venmo, my PayPal, so I can for coaching clients. And I lost my PayPal, I lost my Venmo, I lost my YouTube channel. They said I linked to nudity, which I did not, and there's nobody to talk to. They just recently took down my Instagram, 35,000 followers gone. Nobody will tell me why, and I'm like really careful. I don't even push the limit on any of these things, whereas other people do. And
Yeah.
so it's like the swinger community and the adult industry, you work so hard to make a living at whatever it is you're doing, and then you keep getting knocked down,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think it looks like it's like an ongoing issue with people in the adult industry. I mean, it's not just yourself. You see it all the time when people have spent so much time, like 4 or 5 years, building up
Built
a
it up, yep.
following and they just flick a switch and it's gone.
Yeah,
That's all
it's so
for no
frustrating
reason.
because there's nobody so, first of all, the Instagram, like, literally, like, I've had that since 2011 or 12 or something, and I lost it, 'kay? My
Yes.
Google Voice, they took my Google Voice phone number away, so all my business contacts, I've had to try to figure out how to give them a new phone number, and if I didn't, if I can't get in touch with them, I know so many people that have emailed me and been like, "Hey, are you okay? I've been trying to text you." So I lost that number. My YouTube channel had to start all over again with that. And every day on Facebook, I get a notice that says your page is not being recommended. You are in violation of our policies. And then it says, "Would you like to appeal?" And you go, "Yes." And you hit appeal. And the next day it goes, "We apologize. Your page is now being recommended. You have not violated our policies." And then the next day it goes, "You are not being recommended. You have violated our policies." And I go, "Oh my freaking God, people, seriously."
It's just going round in circles, isn't it?
It's just so, yeah. So like I said, you're you put all this energy and effort into the podcast, the book, your articles, your social media, for marketing, to doing red carpet, for coaching, and then they just take it away from you because you're in this industry or in the swinger community, and they have to
Yeah.
start all over again.
So yeah, it's obviously it's I think there is a stigma sort of thing. I mean, I think there's a stigma in any sort, even outside the media, because you always see about the one side of the people say it's the people who perform, as you mentioned before, have all these like kind of daddy issues and
Right.
mental
Yeah.
health issues, which is, of course, is not true because I've seen a lot of interviews with certain performers and they're just like everyday people sort of thing.
Yeah,
And then
in every career, in every, religion, in every nationality, whatever it is, there's going to be issues everywhere. There's going to be mental issues. There's going to be drug addiction. There's going to be, history from your childhood or whatever. But it's not everyone. Like, I grew up in a very good family. I went to a private school. I have very good parents. I went to college. I have a 4-year college degree. I have a degree in theatrical production. Um, I didn't do drugs, I wasn't raped, I just fell into it. I started as a model, which led to being my degree's directing, which led to being a director in the porn industry, which led to, me writing a girl a check for $1,500 that was there for an hour, and I'm getting paid $300 to be on set all day long. And I'm like, wait, what am I doing? So, that's how I fell into everything.
I was going to say, so you started behind the camera
I
first.
started behind, yeah. So
Right.
when I got divorced, so I owned a fitness company for children when we
Yeah.
moved back from Sweden, my husband and I, and then we got divorced because of the swinger lifestyle. And so while I was, trying to get back on my feet, I think it was, 2008 was the housing market crash. 2009 was my divorce. Okay. And so I lost my fitness company during the housing market crash because all my preschools and daycares were closing their doors. So I started modeling, and modeling led to dancing, and dancing led to dancing at the other club, which led to that guy asking me if I host swingers events,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
led to swingers telling me they wanted to get married. Would I do their wedding for them? And that's how it all kind of just like,
Just fell into place.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you mentioned you went from like the kind of swingers, you don't do events. Do you still do events for the swinging community or have you
So
kind of gave up on that?
in 2023, well, so of course, COVID really messed up a lot of things because during COVID, after COVID, a lot of the mansion that I moved into that I was 10,000 square feet. I only lived there for 8 months. The house flooded, and it's a long story. Those people that rented the mansion
Gee.
to us are still in prison. They'd stolen that hot property and hundreds of others, and I don't know how, but they were renting them out and they were pocketing the money, and they would never reimburse me for anything that they said they would. So if I said to them, hey, the electrical wires are like sticking out, they'd go, get a contractor, fix it, send us the invoice. And so after 8 months, the house flooded, and my business partner said, stay there. And I go, no, I'm done. I'm done here. And so I moved, but I already had started this community. And so I had to do events some way or another. So I started doing hotel takeovers and bar takeovers. But I was going to say something about, you had mentioned, just society's view in general about like, swingers and that whole world. Um, we used to do a meet and greet here. So there's like different events. So a meet and greet would be like you're at a bar, a public bar, open to the public, but you're hosting an event in a private room there or in a private area there. So people can meet others in your community without being in an environment where they feel pressured. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we always would do this event at a meet and greet here in my town. And I remember one time that I was setting up, and then this girl says to me, she goes, "Oh God." And I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "They're coming." And I go, "Who's coming?" And she goes, "The swingers." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "Ugh." And I go, "What do they do?" And she's like, "It's so gross." And I'm like, "Ew, do they kiss each other like on the dance floor?" And she goes, "No." And I go, "Do they have sex on the dance floor?" And she goes, "No." And I go, "What do they do that's so gross?" And she goes, "It's just gross." And I go, "How do we know who they are?" And she goes, "Oh, you'll know." And I go, "Is that one?" And she goes, "No, I'll tell you. They're not here yet." And I go, "Ew, so you can tell who they are?" And she goes, "Yeah, you can totally 100% tell which ones are the swingers." And I go, "Really? Because you're speaking to the hostess of the swingers right now, you know?" And then I made my community, I made sure to point her out to everybody, and they would walk by her, and they'd go, "Swinger!" Like she's in her ear, you know. But so it's like this, the stigma of like, that they're just having sex with other people and that they're gross and that, and they just,
Yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind sometimes. The people that would come to my events, or any event, you're not supposed to ask somebody what they do for a living. Okay. That's kind of like a no. It's if they choose to tell you, that's fine. But after being at my events for a while, they became my friends. So I would ask, like, can you tell me what you do for a living? I had FBI agents, I had LA police officers, I had an emergency room doctor and ER nurse who to this day hate me for telling me what they do for a living, because whenever we had emergencies, I was like to my DJ, please get them, please get them on the microphone right now and get them over here. We have somebody's jumped out of a car, she's got her arm falling off, or whatever it might be. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It cut you've all walks of life. People shouldn't judge just because of you're into it. I mean, it's 2026 now. Fuck's sake,
it's
times have
getting worse.
changed.
It's just worse. We're going completely backwards, I think.
Do you think
Social
so?
media and everything is just making us go more backwards.
It's a funny one because they always say it's like the kind of sex industry has always been like, was it the oldest? Was it, well, they say it's the oldest
Like
profession.
it's the oldest profession, and
Yeah.
and no matter how much they try and have tried to get rid of pornography and all this kind of stuff, it's not going anywhere. So even like prostitution, why not make it legal? Make it that people are testing, that it's done in in a professional building like they do in Nevada, like in a brothel,
Yeah.
because that would take away, in my opinion, that would take away the rape, a lot of that. It would take away a lot of this, this predator stuff that we are, people being kidnapped and stuff. Because if and people walking the streets, because right now, if a prostitute is, well, technically, okay, if a prostitute meets a John and she's raped, okay, she's too scared to contact the police because she was doing something illegal. However, there is a new law. It's called the decriminalization law, and that is that even if if you were being a prostitute, okay, or whatever, if somebody rapes you or tries to murder you, harms you, robs you, okay, you can report that crime, and you cannot be penalized for it
Oh,
because
that's good.
so that's a good, and I really try to spread that message out to people too, because I know a lot of people that have, oh, I can't press charges against him because I'm doing this, and it's like it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. So
Well, that's a good step in the right direction, to be quite honest with you. So, have you had any? Because I know you've been obviously, and then just doing a different of the swingers and the adult industry. Have you had any sort of like kind of run-ins with any sort of like kind of stalkers or dodgy fans or anything like that?
so I had in the past years ago though, I would say like probably 2014 maybe, when I got into the industry in 2014, I got out in 2017, and then I got back in 2020, and then COVID hit. So,
Ah, sure.
um,
Typical.
but I did have it was really weird. I had a stalker, but he would it was so strange. He would call my phone and just say awful things from a number. And then one day I got a phone call from from the Better Business Bureau, who I actually ended up working for. But I got a phone call from them saying to me that there'd been a complaint against my fitness company. And so when you would Google my phone number, it would come up as my fitness company.
Right.
And the complaint was that I was saying derogatory things to this woman. And I was like, wait, 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 wait. What number is her number? And it turns out that whoever this was had cloned my phone number and cloned her number. And both of us were models on a site called Model Mayhem. And he was making derogatory phone calls to both of us. And they said that that can happen. You can clone somebody's number. So I ended up getting protective identity. Yeah. So that was crazy because I had to talk to this girl and try to calm her down and say, wait, listen. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting the same phone calls from you, but it's not you. So, yeah, I think that was like my worst, and I haven't ever had, I've never have had no bad experiences on set, like ever being hired. And, I always warn people, if you're not going to professional set, if you're being hired off of Craigslist or, something like that,
Yeah.
it's not called sexy jobs now, but still you need to do your backgrounds. You need to get references. You need to know where you're going. Somebody needs to know where you're, all these kind of things, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of scammers out there, and now it's getting even worse. So
I was going to say there must be a lot of shady people out there trying to
so many
pull a
shady
fast one.
people. So many, so many, and everything. I mean, somebody will write me and say, "Hey, I want to do a webcam show with you." Okay, and then they'll pay you on Cash App or whatever, and then they'll reverse that
I
charge.
guess so. Yeah.
You know,
Do you think that's because everything's so accessible now? You've got so many options. It's not just your usual going on set anymore because you've got, as you mentioned, you've got your cameras, you've got your OnlyFans, you've got all this sort of other
yeah,
options.
yeah. The industry has changed so much, and I think it's changed for the worse.
Mm.
I guess there's positives and negatives. Positives and negatives. The positive is that people can now be their own boss, right? They don't have to have an agent. They don't have to have a PR. They don't have to, go to set and then that content is gone. It's no longer theirs. They get paid and off they go. Now people can shoot their own content. They have control of their own content. They can sell it. They can put it on their own platforms, etc. But it's getting stolen. I mean, I know for me, just there's I have a gentleman who does this for me. Actually, he's from England and he does this for me for free. He's called, I'll plug him because he's amazing. He's called Content Theft. And he's on X, on Twitter X. And he will write me all the time. He says, Coralyn, I found this. It was stolen from you. Like he found 179 of my videos from my ManyVids platform that they had stolen and put in a zip file, and you could buy the whole zip file for like 6 cents a video or something. So
Oh,
he got
Jesus.
that. So yeah, so it's harder and harder and harder for us to, because you have to pay an attorney normally. It's called a DMCA complaint, and then the
Yeah.
minute they DMCA complaint to get that content that's stolen from that platform, well, they put it up somewhere else, and so it's a never-ending game, and it's just constant battle and constant fight, but it's a
I guess
crazy
I've
industry.
It is. I mean, coming from the camera side of things, it's obviously changing from being more accessible with the cameras like OnlyFans. The great thing about it, as you mentioned, you are your own boss, but then you've got the other thing about it is that the other people are taking advantage of, as I'm seeing a lot of these OnlyFans agencies that are popping up now,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
really, really taking advantage of these girls, like
Yeah, that's
taking a
another
massive
message that
cut.
well, not even the girls, not even I want I feel so bad. I try to explain to the fans and I just don't know how to get this message out there that when they are paying $3 to join an OnlyFans page, okay?
Mm.
That's just to join her page, okay? And she doesn't care that you're not going to see anything on there because your $3 will end in a month and another 50 guys will come for another $3, okay? And then they're charging you $50 a minute for, a video or a boob flash or all those messages when they think that they're writing her, they're not. She's got a
Some of those.
chatter.
Yeah.
Chatter in Indonesia or chatter, so I handle my own page. Mine is a membership. So you pay $16 a month, you get access to everything and you can message me. And it's me that writes them. So no, I do not sit there in front of my computer all day long. I log in twice a day and return messages. So if guys can know you are not 99% of the time talking to the girl that you think you're talking to. You're not. I've had a chatter. I did try to go the OnlyFans manager route. It did not. I've gone through 3 managers. It does not go well for me.
I mean, what was the problem with them? Could you just not on
The
with them?
first two, they told me not to micromanage them. And I was like, I won't, but I am going to look and watch and see what you're doing. Well, I would log in and my chatter would say to like a guy, he would say, hey, do you have any blowjob videos? And she would send him a video of a masturbation. She would charge him like $150 for this video. That's like a 3-minute video. And then she would write like, is that you? What's wrong, baby? Too pricey for you? You want to play Dare Truth, Truth Dare Me instead? And I was like, oh my God, that is not English. That is not what he asked for, and so that was a problem. And then the other one was so one was a chatter issue. Oh, the other one just put, when they take you on as a client, then they tell you what your responsibility is. And then that one put so much more on me. They were like, now we need you to webcam 8 hours a day. Now we need you to make, 9 different TikTok videos and each different TikTok name. And so you have different algorithms. I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. So,
Too
and then
much,
the
I know.
third one's actually fired me because,
What did you do?
because I was getting ready for my surgery. And so I told them, I said, I can't do everything that you guys have expected me to do. You knew this going into I was having surgery. And they said, why don't you just come back after your surgery? And I was like, whatever. So
So that was just, that was a polite see you later sort of thing, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
bastards.
so that, but the guys are being taken advantage of, I think. And it's frustrating for those of us that have been in this world a long time. I started out as a webcam girl. Okay. I know custom videos. I actually started selling panties. That's how this all, it's my ex-husband's fault. That's how it all started was during the housing crash. I was taking a bath. He came home and he said, how's your fitness company doing? And I said, it's not good. And you know that. And he goes, girls sell their underwear online. And I went, gross. No, they don't. Wait, how do you know that? And then I started researching it and that's how it all started. But,
Yeah.
My prices are pretty much the same as they were since 2009 on my videos. And these girls are just crazy on their prices and their messages and stuff. So
Oh yeah, that's it. Because they always, I think it's because they always see all these like kind of the 1% of the people are making like millions and millions of dollars, and like, yeah,
yeah,
we can do that. And it's like, hold on a minute, that takes a lot of time and effort to get there. You know,
yeah.
it's
And the thing is that for those of us, at least for those of us that are in the adult industry, okay, we are on the internet, okay? We're already out there. So, when these new people come in, there are firemen that has an OnlyFans page or whatever. Well, that's that unforbidden nudity that you want to, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's how some of them are doing better, but it's it's like you said, it's 1% maybe that are making decent money. I don't think I've made over $1,000 a month on my OnlyFans. I kid you not.
Wow. Okay.
But the problem is we have too many platforms too. We have OnlyFans, loyal fans, many vids, I
Yes.
want
Yeah.
clips, tempted, locked. I'm an ambassador for a company called Locked. That's another one. And so you have to shoot your content, edit your content, upload your content, right? And then get on social media and market all the different platforms,
Yeah.
okay? Without getting kicked off of the social media and losing the platform or losing your social media account and having to start all over again. It's like it's a you're a hamster freaking on the wheel and you just can't get off.
Do you find as if it's like new people coming in to like the industry and all that sort of stuff, doing all this sort of thing? They're kind of blinded because they only see the glamorous side of it. You know, they only see the cool photo shoots and the fantastic mansions and the kind of the kind of sex they're having and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot. It's not as glamorous as that in real life, I
Yeah,
would
no,
imagine.
100%. People, there's a stigma again around, oh, it's, you make all this money and, there's no, first of all, there's never been royalties. It's not like an actress in a porn in a I'm sorry, in a commercial. Okay. You don't get kickback royalties every time your porn is shown on the platform. Okay. So now you can on Pornhub, like if you get 1 million clicks on like your video, I think you make like $1. It's like ridiculous. But
Wow.
or you can have your own Pornhub page, like a private page that can link back to your OnlyFans or whatever. But you have to think somebody's got to shoot the content, edit it. Okay. If you're shooting with another performer, okay, then you have to do it. You have to have all the testing done, which is very expensive, like $300 every test. You have to test every 2 weeks now if you're shooting like in the mainstream. And then you have to do all the legal paperwork if they're not like on the platform. Let's say I shoot with somebody and he goes, "You can use my cock." Well, that's great. Okay. But now I need your ID with your model release. And now the newest thing, you have to have a collaboration release as well. So if I am on OnlyFans and another guy is on OnlyFans and we shoot a scene together and we don't pay each other and we both get the scene and he cancels his OnlyFans account, he's allowed to say, "I don't want any of my content out there anymore." And now you lose that video unless you have a collaboration form that says it's released to me and I still get to keep the content. So
God, it's so much fucking paperwork.
and each platform has their own release. So
Oh,
imagine
Jesus.
showing up at set and they give you like 30 papers because you got to sign off on Clips for Sale, OnlyFans, Pornhub, X videos, X Hamster. There's so many. Fat House, I can't even name them all. And so, like, for me, it's just so overwhelming.
Crazy. It's like you're spending the first 3 hours just signing out your life away, really, aren't you?
Yeah, a story I always tell people is a gentleman. I was at the AVN Awards, at the expo, and a gentleman walked by me. I say gentleman, I'm being nice, okay? And
Okay.
he goes, "Coralyn, I'm very upset with you." And I went, "Hello." And he goes, "I'm so upset with you." And I go, "Do I know you?" And he goes, "My name is Mike." And I go, "Well, hello, Mike. Do I know you?" And he goes, "I wrote you on OnlyFans. I wrote you on Instagram." And I went, "Okay." And he goes, "And you didn't write back." And I went, "Oh, was it important?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I go, "Let's look it up." So I pulled him over. I let him sit in my chair, pulled up and I said, "What's your name?" on Instagram, pulled it up and I pulled out the messages and I went, "Look, you asked, hi, how am I?" Let me tell you something, Mike. Let me answer that, okay? Mike, go ahead and answer that. And then I went through everything. I said, and while you're done answering that and the other 50 messages, go to Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, OnlyFans, Loyal Fans, Tempted, I Want Clips, Pornhub, do them all, answer all the messages, okay? And make sure you edit and everything and get back to everybody. And then when you're done, go back and start again because now they've all written you back again, okay? So, Mike, how am I? I'm not fucking good. I was so mad.
I
I was
can
so mad.
imagine it.
Can you
There's
imagine
no
that?
pleasing. There's no pleasing people, is there? You're always at the beck and call sort of thing.
Like,
Just because you perform on camera, you think they can do and say what they want to you, sort of thing. But it's a bit of a shame that that's
yeah,
obviously
so
unfortunately
it's
the
just, I mean,
case.
the bottom line, like the message to get out there is that, it's not at what everybody thinks it is. The swinger community, the adult industry, there are pluses and minuses to both. There are,
Yes.
that's like in everything. I mean, in the swinger community, there's a lot of things that can go very, very wrong if you don't follow the rules.
Yeah, well, there has to be rules, otherwise there'll be chaos and anarchy, and we don't
Yeah,
want that. Well, it's not
just like
not
our
any
world
more
right
of.
now, chaos and anarchy.
I was going to say not more of it. It's just crazy right now, isn't it? Sort of thing.
It
So
is so crazy.
you mentioned about your writing another book. How's that getting on?
Gosh, it's so close. It's been so close. I mean, I published this book 5 years ago, 2020. I released this book, 6 years ago, and my
Jeez.
second book was done like a year later. But I just like I don't know what it is with me. I can't get my chapters in order, And my publicist, she moved to Seattle. I really just need to say to her, help me and just get it in order.
Yeah,
I
done.
tried to do where like I took each chapter and I put it into Chat GBT and I said, don't change my story, just fix my grammar, spelling, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm so confused because I have like 9 different versions of my book. I don't know which ones went into Chat GBT. I can't. And
You
I
lose
also have a
track.
documentary. I filmed a documentary 4 years ago, which has gone now to 3 different editors. And my third editor, and I'll shout his name out there, Joe, if he would please mail it back to me so I can give it to another editor. So, you're constantly fighting this battle of like, get the book out, do this, get the podcast. Oh, I just lost my YouTube channel. Now I just lost my Instagram. Oh, I don't have a phone number anymore. I mean, it's like,
And I'd say, yeah, fuck you, Joe, by the way. Give her a movie, documentary back. So it's a crazy one. The thing, sometimes I just think uh, just get out there. You think you're a little bit of a perfectionist? Would you class yourself as that?
no, not, no, for me, no. So,
No, lie to you. It sounds like you're a little bit, to be honest.
no, my nickname, my dad used to just, my nickname was half ass. Okay.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. So, I'll jerry rig anything. Like I will make anything work. Like, I'll figure it out, but it's never going to be like, it's not perfect, even like my first book, so many people said to me, your book was so good. You should have really sent it to an editor though for some spelling. And I was like, do you not think like my book went through 6 different editors?
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because each editor changes different, and so
Yeah.
finally my publisher, I was like, I don't know what to do. This editor says this one, this, and she goes, no, I'm taking it and my editor's doing it. I go, take it. And then I don't want to see it again. Just take
To
it,
be fair,
So
yeah, exactly. Fucking crazy. I don't know how it's going to end there. But well, hopefully it'll come out, the documentary will get sorted. And
yeah, the documentary is shot and it was almost edited, and then the content is on a hard drive and it just needs to be mailed to me so I can give it to another editor who will finalize it for me. But
what's
that's
the
the way.
what's the documentary? What's the year? Is a certain time period that's been? Is it just following you round, or is it just all about you, sort of thing?
So my documentary is different than like a lot of the documentaries are in the adult industry. Or my friend Mickey Lynn, she just actually finished filming her documentary, but that's about like that actually was more like interviewing people who know her and stuff like that. Mine is like chronologically the story of my book. So
Right.
we filmed at the ice skating rink that I used to train at. We filmed at the strip club where I used to dance. We went through all the like when I was voted in 1994 California Figure Skater Athlete of the Year. So we actually reenact that whole award ceremony. We reenact when my first time when I was at the brothel and I was sleeping pretty. Like, all these things is all reenacted in the movie. And we also like my writing my book is in my documentary, and my publisher, she's in my documentary. The
Wow.
manager of my strip club, he's in the documentary. Like, it's really done very, very well, and I would really like my content back so I can get that finished.
It's do you feel as if when you do like a documentary, it's quite personal, isn't it? It's a bit of an invasion. Did you feel nervous, or do you still feel nervous that there's like, even with your book as well, because it's written about yourself and it's all about your life, and it kind of opens the door up behind the scenes that people wouldn't normally see.
Yeah,
In other words, how do you feel
well,
about that?
Yeah, so that doesn't like I actually feel like getting my book out there was my therapy. Okay. So writing is my therapy. So I'm not ashamed about anything that I've done. I always say that when life throws me you a curveball, you catch it. Do you always go the right direction with it? No. Do I have, like you talked about earlier, regrets? I have regrets on certain things or regrets on maybe how I handled certain things. I'm a very, very I give my all to everything. I am half-ass, but I give my heart and soul to something. And so, a lot of things that I gave my heart and soul to backfired on me. And it's very, very, that's frustrating. But having my story out there and people know, like, I don't have to hide anymore. I'm like, yeah, I'm a porn star. Do you want to go watch the movie? Let me tell you where to go. In fact, join my OnlyFans. Don't download it stuff for free. So
Brilliant. But well, hopefully look forward to obviously kind of catching them, seeing the documentary coming out, and obviously the new book as well. That'd be fantastic. So we've been going on for like kind of 50 minutes now,
I
sort of
know.
thing. To be fair, we could probably sit and chat here for the next 2 hours, no doubt, to be quite honest with you, Colin. But just obviously to finish off. So one thing I always like to kind of open up and get a little bit, I wouldn't say like kind of personal, but a little bit more sort of bit nitty gritty. So if you can imagine 10 years from now, someone is introducing, you at an event, what's something that they hope they don't mention about you? And then there's something that you absolutely want them to mention.
So, I mean, ultimately, my goal, like where I am right now, is to, and I am doing this a little bit, is I teach. So I travel, I do the coaching online, and then I do seminars. So I do seminars about embracing your sexuality and living your true life for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So when go to a seminar, I start out by giving them a brief synopsis on my background as a figure skater to porn, to director to porn star to, brothel worker to where I am today, and why I feel that it's so important now more than ever that we all stand up to society and we embrace our sexuality and we embrace who we are as people. We embrace our gender identity. We embrace our kinks, our fetishes, our fantasies instead of being ashamed by them. So, I would want, I went on to get my master's. I went on to get a master's in I'm a master's in sexology. Okay. So, and I did that and I specialized in kink. And so, that's my introduction would be, I want people to know that I've come into this world and I've embraced this world and I've embraced the industry and I've embraced the lifestyle. What do I want people to not know about me? Um, I don't know. I would just say, like I said, when I give everything my heart and soul, and then I get backfired, I'm on the outside, I'm a very friendly person and like but I have a lot of hatred against people. And
Mostly editors.
yeah, I have hatred against, the like where society's going and where all this is going. And so sometimes I just feel like saying fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
why am I bothering? Because everything I do, they just make me go two steps back. You go forward with this documentary, somebody takes your stuff. Build your page, you lose it. You get a phone number, you lose it. So it's like, huh. So, I'd say that they would introduce me as you don't want to get on her bad side, I guess.
There you go. Don't work for a social media platform. Don't work for it because you get a phone call, she'll kick your ass.
Well, I'll tell you, but by the social media platform, you should check this out too and have your listeners. It's this is for anybody. It's called LOKDX locked, okay, .com.
Okay.
And that is a Facebook, an Instagram, an OnlyFans, a Twitter, a chat, and a chatterbait. It is everything in one platform, meaning a fan can join, anybody can join it. You can have a wall, post on your wall for free. You can post content for sale. You can webcam with somebody. You can sell stuff. And you don't have to deal with the paperwork or all the bullshit because it's all done it's offshore. Okay. And you can still make money on it. And it's done through like you can get paid through dollars or whatever. There's none of this Bitcoin crap. But the only thing they say is you better have the paperwork if we ever ask you for it. But but it's new, and so you know how people are. If somebody wants a Starbucks coffee and you tell them that there's a Pete's, and they go, "But I want Starbucks," and you go, "It's the same fucking thing," not to them. So check out Locked because that would be if we could all just go to that one, we wouldn't have to do anything else.
We'll chuck that. We'll chuck that in the description below. That sort of thing. So, Colin, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much for coming on and having a chat.
Thank you for
It's been a
having
pleasure.
me and for
So,
letting me just chit chatter away to everybody. Blah, blah, blah.
chatting away. That's the best way. So, where can we find you? Is it the website? What's your website?
So my website is Coralyn, Coralyn, Jewel.com. Okay. So that CoralynJewel.com. And then that leads to everything. And then also I have my podcast website, but you can get that through that. And that's embraceyoursexuality.net. And that leads you to all my episodes that have been published on my YouTube channel, which I'm still uploading again, starting all over again.
Start from scratch.
But yeah, and then that leads you to my social media and my blogs and my discounts on different like swinger websites and stuff like that, and my coaching. If somebody's interested in the industry or coaching or lifestyle, just reach out to me through my page.
There you go. So the main hub is your website. You want to know anything?
CoralynJewel.com. Nobody's ever going to take it down because it's my page.
There you go. Fuck society. Stand up.
Exactly.
So we'll
Thank
put
you
that.
for having me, Ryan. I really appreciate it.
I know we'll put all the description and we'll put all your webpage and all that, so links to books and all that sort of stuff. But Coralyn, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.